It's Friday and we're 2 weeks into the build. We've got the engine in, got the gearbox in, we've got the transfer case in, we've got the radiators in, and we're making up the cooler for it, the supercharger. We also have the steering box alignment.
So you got everything positioned, the mountings all in place.
Everything's in place.
Drive shaft is lining up.
Drive shafts are lining up. Waiting for Tinus to give the go-ahead to rework the drive shafts and weld the mountings.
And the guys are busy stripping the wiring from the donor car.
The wiring, the entire engine loom and floor loom from the Trackhawk is being now stripped.
And you're busy making space for the fan here to make sure that doesn't...
We're actually using this radiator and this fan just to mock up. The radiator for it will be coming in the next 2 weeks, and then that will be the right one, but more or less we are almost there.
Cool, and the next challenge is to get the supercharger to fit.
I wouldn't think it would be a challenge to get the supercharger to fit because there's enough space here, as you see.
Yeah, the hood might actually change the supercharger. Yes. Might stick out a bit higher than the current hood.
So they did order another bonnet for it to accommodate the height.
Okay, and all the modules and everything, it's coming from that donor car, right?
It'll be this, the PCM,
okay.
The PCM, radio frequency hub.
Because the gearbox is drive by wire, so they need to have that torque with
the ABS. Yeah.
And I heard a rumor, I'm gonna be putting nitros there.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I heard a rumor. Apparently they're putting nitros, 2 bottles, one left, one right. Sounds like Dylan wants to make 1,000 horsepower. You'll be seeing a bunch of video clips coming through now, and that's basically just showing what has happened during the week. What are you doing now?
So now what he's doing is grinding all the mounting where he cut off the mounting, and then he's relocating the mounting, the steering box, and then the pole in the front here, that's going to be moved and turned over. Okay, how's it guys? Just quick update. We've got the old mountings out. We have to swap them around and fabricate new ones. Relocate the steering box. Also, if you look here, got this bar here. This bar here has to come more forward and turn around. Okay.
Cool, so you're going to basically, well the way the mountings are now, they're the wrong way around.
The wrong way around because the engine has to reposition.
Yes, okay. And then also for the steering box to fit.
Yes.
So they're the wrong way around, so we'll make new ones.
So to fabricator one to go this way.
Yeah.
How's it guys? Welcome to a new day. We started off with the mountings this morning. We fitted the long arm mountings on the right hand side. The reason being to move the engine more to the left and away from the steering box, so it clears the alternator. And then we did our first test fit, and then we ended up with some problems. The engine was hitting on this end of the firewall, and the sump was hitting this bar. So now we need to order a new sump for this guy so we can...
What bar is it? This bar is it?
Track bar. Okay. This track bar. So now we need to get a new sump for this guy.
It boxed up this side, yeah.
Yep. We have closed this end, we seal it off, and we can relocate that bar. Once we've sorted out the sump out, we'll remove the sump, then we can test fit again.
Got a nice job. Obviously it's just tack welded into place now,
yes.
In case they need any changes.
So if we have to move the engine front or move it more back. The reason being we also have to keep in consideration of the gearbox and the transfer case. Yeah, the reason why we do not weld these things on is because if we have to move the engine back, so we can remove the tacks and remove the mountings and move the engine back because it must line up with the transfer case as well. Or if it has to come forward, same thing applies. But more or less we are around whereby once we remove the sump here and fix that firewall, this engine will fit. This sump here, the pickup is at the front, at the crank end. While this sump here, the pickup is at the back. So with this sump, it ends up hitting the diff if this guy has to jump or if a heater pump. The diff comes up and hits the sump at the bottom, it cracks. With this one, it clears because there's nothing at the back.
Knowing Dylan, he's gonna jump.
Yeah.
He's gonna go crazy. Apparently, there's a rumor that he's putting gas.
Check in, slip in.
I can.
Okay, we're trying to line up these mountings.
Go down.
So it's more or less it's like a test fit because we're trying to move the gearbox in, doesn't hit the firewall. At the same time, see if the engine mountings line up. The engine mounting to the chassis mounting.
Okay.
So we move the engine in, out, check. Once we get that lined up, and then we check, then we should be sorted out for the engine for now.
Or you're gonna put yours first?
No, you must come more in, my friend.
More in.
Yeah.
Okay, drop yours there then. Your jack.
First.
It's knocking here.
The back. Bottom.
Hello.
First. Why would I put this? Because it looks like the engine must go more this way.
Okay.
So
Can the engine come towards you, Lo?
Yeah.
yeah,
Put yours.
let us put this side.
And then put your side first.
Yeah. It's on the way.
Yeah.
No, it can't be.
No, to get the mounting in place. It's hitting the sensor, so you can.
This side.
The engine is now on its mountings. Send some photos to Tinas to approve. If it does, then this is exactly how the engine will be sitting. Our next step is to try and mount our steering box and get clearance so that it doesn't hit the alternator. Good day, gents. We're now lining up the drivetrain. So we're trying to make mounting for the gearbox because the original mounting does not work. So we're lining the rear prof shaft. Once that's lined, we jack this entire thing, this entire gearbox and transfer case high as possible, and then start creating this mounting here so that it can be mounted onto it and then thereafter fit the prof shafts.
Okay, cool. So that's the line to the back there. Just show me again there.
To
Oh, there we go, got it, yeah.
and then to the front, and also we also have to consider the height. The transfer case and the gearbox should not be too low. So once we get it to the right height, and also check the front as well, because when we drop our radiator in, we don't want the engine to like sit against it. So to keep all that in consideration.
Okay.
So we start from here. Normally this flange here actually helps us to line it up. Once we get this as high as possible, doesn't touch the chassis, a little bit of clearance there, and then it lines up. We normally use that as a guide.
Okay.
So once we get that to where we need it, it's going to assist us to make up this mounting. And then the drivetrain will be sorted out. It's knocking here. Can you see?
Yeah.
So you shave that part, and then once it fits in there, then we know it lines up.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's a flange over there.
But now we can't come anymore because the strap is.
Okay. Okay. No, but it's right like that. On your side is clear there, bro.
Yeah.
On that end. Yeah. See, it looks centered
So
from
the
here.
hand can go in.
Yeah.
Cool. This is looking forward from the back. There's a flange, there's a gearbox. So you need to make a thing.
Probably across there.
Yeah, it needs to go across there.
Yeah.
The supports. Cool. Yeah, so they're trying to align the rear diff
To the transfer case.
to the transfer case, and then obviously the front transfer case to the front diff.
Yeah.
Mount the guys made today. They're all sitting nice in the snow. Lining up quite nicely.
Flange.
In the center of this.
Output flange. And just look above it. Does it look more or less straight?
This thing's got to come this way.
But we can't put it anyway.
And that bracket you got to finish there, Drew.
Gusset is everything.
They were strong enough.
See how many gussets it is? On the side, everything. And it's welded over.
And you welded both sides of that.
Yeah. And the top, everything will come out. Then we're going to check it properly outside. Then we're going to make it.
Let me see this side. Yeah, bro, what are we gonna? I don't know how you're gonna move this thing across. This thing's gonna go into
How many mother? About 2 or 3?
about 5.
Hey. Same one.
At least 5 more.
Drop it there.
See what?
Unless this fuel tank.
No, yours was there.
No, it looks pretty straight to me, eh?
It was for my kite.
No, it needs to come this way, bro.
When this thing has to jump, imagine the angle then. Or when he has to drop it. Think there. What happens? Creating angle as well, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This thing is just
Okay, the angles is.
we'll never. Plus, we still have a bigger problem over here. We have a output flange here
Yeah.
that has 6 mountings, and the one that we have, our prof shaft, has 8. We need to start changing all of those.
That's
things.
not a problem. You're gonna shorten this thing anyway.
Yeah. I
So
don't
we're
know
gonna
how-
make it. We're gonna make a space here from 6 to 8, and then you can run 8 and 8
Yeah, and then we need to get that guy.
because you're gonna shorten that thing anyway.
Yeah. We need to get that guy in here tomorrow so we can start making our prof shafts. But